Hey guys, and the crowd goes wild. Hey y'all, it's the Braid Producer. Welcome to my channel. Welcome to my channel. I can't even believe I'm saying that because I've been thinking and contemplating and in my mind saying like, I need to do YouTube. 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 And here I am. I'm doing it now. I ain't do it all that long time ago, but I'm doing it now. And so this video is a get to know me video. I know a lot of people follow me on Instagram and TikTok, and you may be my client, or you may have took a workshop of mine or a one-on-one or something of that nature. And you think you know me, but you don't. You don't. You don't really know me like that. And that's not a bad thing. That's perfectly fine. But I'm taking the time out to do this video because I do want you to get to know me. Whether you're a client, student, other braider, it don't even really matter. I do want to take the time out so that you can get to know me just a little bit. And so with that being said, I posted a poll on my Instagram some time ago. And I got some questions from you all. As far as like get to know me questions, some people did throw in like braiding questions that I'm probably not going to answer in this video because it's just not the time or place. Like I'm not answering braiding questions right now, you know what I'm saying? In terms of like technique, that is. So let's get started. Let's get ready to rumble. Y'all did ask some really good questions, and I hope that you enjoyed this video. So make sure that you subscribe, like, share, all of that. My name is Brianna. I'm originally from Baltimore. I was trying to wait to see like where the questions would go because I did see some questions that would go into what I'm saying right now. But my name is Brianna. I'm from Baltimore, Maryland originally. I live in Dallas, Texas right now. And the way that I got into the hair industry was I was an assistant for a stylist who did like weaves and stuff like that. I was her assistant and I was braiding down for her and I was shampooing for her. Then she moved into a salon, so I started working at that salon with her, and then from there I started working with the other stylists, or working for as an assistant for the other stylists in that salon as well. So that was like my introduction into the hair industry, professionally wise, like actually working a job type. Prior to that, I did assist my sister a little bit with like braid downs and stuff like that, because she's also a cosmetologist, just like the girls in the salon were or is. She's also a cosmetologist, and she does weaves, wigs, natural hair, and all of that. So I was like in my little 12, 13, well, I think I might have been 13, 14, somewhere around that age. I don't even know, but helping and assisting my sister with like braid downs for her clients that were getting weaves. But let me get into these questions. Okay, so the first question is, what was it like when you first started doing hair, and how did you gain clients? When I first started braiding, it was weird, it was awkward, and it was scary. It was scary because I went from being the one who helped everybody with their clients and not really interacting with their clients as much as you have to with your own clients. So like for instance, I wasn't holding no full-on conversations with their clients. Like, you're not my client. Hi, good morning, I'm gonna shampoo you, or hi, good morning, I'm going to braid you down, or you can sit over here. It was like little conversation like that, or like, how's your morning? Like, how's your afternoon, or whatever the case, but that's it. It wasn't really, I'm having to greet them in terms of showing where they are going. It was different. And so from that perspective, it was scary when it came time for me to have my own clients, because it kind of was like, okay, this is not somebody else's client. Like, this is my own personal client who I have to build rapport with, who I have to remain professional with, who I have to answer to in terms of if they have any questions about a thing, or their style, how long it lasts, and then all of that. I was not like, I'm just like I was nervous. I was really, 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 really nervous. And then the second part of that question says, how did you gain clients? Majority of my clients came from working in the salon that I was working at, because of course I was already the assistant there. So like their clients was seeing me do braids, and eventually like coming to me to get braids. And then of course I started branching out to being on social media, specifically Instagram, promoting myself, posting, and of course word of mouth traveled with the people who were coming to the salon to get other services, like, oh, she braid or whatever the case. So that's how I started getting my own clients. The second question here says, what made you move to Texas during the pandemic? I moved to Texas during the 2 months before the shutdown, that is, because we were already really in a pandemic for real. We just didn't know and wasn't calling it that. But I moved to Texas in January of 2020, and that was the same month that I got married. My husband is from Texas, so we made the decision like, let's be in Texas. And that's how I moved to Texas. The third question is, if you weren't a hairstylist, what profession you think you would have been in? I would be a psychologist. I would be in the mental health field. Very much so. Before I became an assistant working at that salon, I was in college, but I ended up having to drop out because I did not have the money to pay for it. My financial got shut down and taken away, etc. And that's what I was in. So that's what I think I would be doing. And I mean, it's not too late. So if y'all see me not braiding no more and I'm in a whole different profession, it might be psychology. The other question is, because there are a lot, where does the confidence come from when filming? I wish I could record consistent. The confidence that comes from filming, when filming, I think it's just doing it again and again and again, like doing it literally recording again and again and again and again and again. If you pay attention to my content, I don't have one video. I have not thousands, I have hundreds of videos, right? So the consistency in that is what I feel brings the confidence. Now, I will say I have gone through a level of personal development in knowing myself and being self-aware and things of that nature that helps. But nevertheless, the consistency is what builds that confidence. And also, yeah, I'm gonna just leave it at that. The consistency is what builds the confidence, but also having that level of self-awareness and that knowing yourself and who you are helps as well. Because if you think about the people and maybe even the person who asked this question, if you think about yourself and you feel like, oh, I don't really know which direction to go and I don't really know what to do, and you questioning yourself continuously over and over and over again, 9 times out of 10, there's a level of self-growth that you have not reached that is hindering you from that consistency, or that knowing yourself to be able to assert yourself. And I was in that place in my life before. That's why I mentioned personal development, because I had to go through a process of getting to know myself and becoming more self-aware, knowledgeable, and things of that nature to help me out. So that's where the confidence comes from when filming. And that's such a great compliment. Thank you so much. How do you grow your business for steady clientele? New braider here. How do you grow your business for steady clientele? That's kind of a loaded question. I think what's throwing me off is the for steady clientele. That's really throwing me off, because it's like you don't grow your business for steady clientele. By growing your clientele, your business grows. So it's kind of the reverse. Honestly, you have to get clients, maintain those clients, retain those clients, and then your business grows, especially in the hair industry or the beauty industry in general. So it's It's not you grow your business up and the clients just come. No, you get the clients and then your business grows. You know what I'm saying? So think about it from that perspective. When you got started, how did you price things out, like when you were still learning? My prices were trash when I first started. When I first started, I was charging $150, $100. I was charging anywhere from $100 to $185. And if you came to me and you tried to get small knotless, that was the most thing that I charged. I think I charged either $225 or $325. So I don't have a recommendation for that time period in terms of how I charge, because I didn't know what I was doing. So I wouldn't even try to, I was just coming up with numbers. Like, I would look at how much money that I was trying to make in a day, which was at that time $300. I was trying to make $300 in a day at that point, and I knew that if I took 2 clients for $150, I made my money that I wanted to make in a day at that time. So that's what I would speak on in terms of just starting out and pricing. Another question is, what made you want to specialize in knotless? I just love doing knotless braids, y'all. I love doing knotless braids. I think what I love even more is the process of it, the way that you come about the end result. I love it. I love the parting. I love being able to see the parts. I love being able to see how sleek the braids lay. I love all of that, and literally I would not mind, and I already do it, but I would not mind doing knotless braids day in and day out. Like, it would not make me never mind. Like, I could wake up and do some knotless braids every single day and it would not bother me. It would not bother me at all. And that's when I knew that I wanted to specialize in them. So prior to me only doing knotless braids, I did do other styles such as feed-in braids, stitch braids, tribal braids. I literally did everything else, and none of them styles made me want to wake up tomorrow and do it again. After I would do those styles, I'm like, hell no, I'm not doing this shit again. Like, I'm not doing it. I'm not with it. I don't want to do it. And I knew that. Like, literally, I knew that. So that's why I specialize in knotless braids. It literally don't have nothing else to do with nothing else except the fact that I love to do them. That's it. Another question is, when you're braiding hair, where does your mind go to? My mind go on other goals. My mind go to literally anything else. What I'm finna eat when I get off, if it's my eat day. I think about everything else except for what I'm doing, literally. And the only way that I've gotten to that point is because I've mastered knotless braids so much that I don't really have to think about the style as I'm doing it. So I just think about other things or whatever me and my client are talking about. Do you see yourself moving from Texas? No, not really. Not really. I really don't. I love Texas, y'all. I mean, I do. And I say that because in Baltimore, where I'm originally from, everything and everybody is right there. Like, you ain't got to go too far. You ain't got to, like, nothing extra. Everybody is right there. Whereas in Texas, I don't even care if I have a family member. You finna be some time apart away from me. So I love Texas. I love that it's big. I love that it's spaced out. It took some getting adjusted to, but it didn't really bother me. So I don't see myself moving from Texas, not at this point in time and where I'm at mentally, no. But if I had to choose somebody or somewhere else to live, it would probably be out of the country, like Jamaica, or another part in Texas like Austin or something like that, but not really. What other field would you like to make an impact on as much as you did in the braiding industry? Psychology, for sure. Mental health is a big thing for me. Mental health plays a part as to why I am the way that I am when it comes to my braid career and how I am as a braider. If anybody pays attention to my content, you may or may not notice how specific I am, very straight to the point. And that has to do with me being aware and also wanting clarity. And I feel like if you have a cluttered mind or if you're not really thinking right, you can't do those things. And so that even plays a part in how I am as a braider and as an educator, if you will. So psychology for sure. What made you go vegan or vegetarian? I am vegetarian, and funny story about that really quickly is that the only reason I became a vegetarian is because it was around the time, I think in 2017, late 2017 if I'm not mistaken, 2017 into 2018 if I'm not mistaken, is because it got like very trendy being a vegetarian and vegan and stuff like that. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Like, it got very trendy out of nowhere. It seemed like it was already people that were vegetarians and vegans and stuff like that, but like, I don't know, for me it just was very popular, and I'm like, okay, well, let me just try it out, or whatever the case. Mind you, I wasn't really into health. I wasn't really into diet or nothing like that. Another thing that kind of like influenced me thinking about diet, or made me start thinking about diet and health and things of that nature, is that I joined the Nation of Islam around that same time. So like, that piqued my interest into how to eat and things like that. And then in the same breath, it was that trend going on about being vegan and vegetarian and stuff like that. So I'm like, okay, let me just try this out, whatever. But y'all, I did it. I tried out being a vegetarian, so like strictly eating any and every other thing except for meat. No pork, no chicken, no none of that other stuff. Like, no meat whatsoever besides fish. I was eating fish at that time. However, so I'm trying it out, and it was like a week and a half. I don't even think I made it to 2 weeks, but I'm like, okay, this is boring. I don't really know what to eat. Like, I'm not really about this life. Like, I'm done. Like, it's cool. You know, I tried it out for that little time period. My skin was so clear. Like, I was loving it. I'm like, okay, I'm good. But I'm like, okay, this is boring. I don't really know what to eat. Like, these meals is not tasting right. Like, I'm done. So I go and get a chicken box. For y'all that's not from Baltimore, that just means chicken and fries in a box, literally, with salt, pepper, ketchup, right? So I go get me a chicken box, and I go sit at my kitchen table, and I'm ready to eat. Like, I'm like, oh, I'm about to tear this up, because y'all know when y'all get some food, y'all can smell it through the box. Like, I'm like, oh, it smells so good. Like, I'm ready. Girl, I got to the table, and I went to bite the chicken. I could not bite the chicken. I could not bite the chicken. Literally, I put it in my mouth, and I'm finna go, and I couldn't do it. Like, mentally, my mind was locked off of meat. Like, I couldn't do it. So from that day forward, I never ate meat again. I was still eating fish, but then, you know, fish got boring for me. Like, it's only so many things you can do with fish. Like, I was over it. My favorite thing to eat was chicken. So like, fish was boring, and I stopped eating fish, and now I just don't eat no meat at all anymore. Like, just straight up and down, no meat. I still eat cheese. I love ice cream. Like, I could not be a vegan because I love those two things specifically. That's how I became vegetarian, y'all. But I'm telling you, if I would have been able to eat that chicken on that day, I probably wouldn't be no vegetarian, because I love chicken. Even to this day that I don't eat it, I still love chicken. Chicken still smell good. I still look at people that order chicken in a restaurant, because I'm like, oh, that just looks so good. So anyway, what age were you when you got married? I literally was talking to my client about this, and I could not remember, but I think I was 20, because I think I turned 21 that following month. Because it was January 2020, January 22nd, 2020, and my birthday is on February the 1st. So I think I was 20. Don't get me lying. Somebody said, do you braid little kids' heads or just adults? Only adults. I do not do children's hair. I used to do children's hair in the first 2 years of me braiding. Well, the first like year and a half, maybe 2 years of me braiding, but I stopped because with the work that I do, I don't really have I have patience, but I don't have the time to be as patient with children that I can be with adults. So I don't do children's hair at all. Do you need your license to work in a salon? Also, do you have any tips for a beginner? It depends where you are and what you're doing. So braiders in Texas don't need a license to braid, nor shampoo, or none of that. But if you're in a place where they require a license, then obviously you would have to have a license for that place. And in those salons, some salons, they do let people work under the table. Like, let's just be real. There are places that do that, so it is what it is. But I would definitely say, like, if you're looking for a salon to work in and you're interested to know, like, do you require a license, call them or Google it. How long did it take you to perfect your knotless? I think 1 year, honestly, because I had been doing knotless braids since 2018, which is the same time that I began braiding professionally and full time. However, I didn't make the decision to do only knotless braids and perfect them until 2021. And y'all, it's 2022, so a year, literally. It probably wasn't even a whole year, but it was since 2021, so a year. What made you start braiding and what pushed you to keep up with it? What made me start braiding is the fact that I dropped out of college. I stopped going to college. And I was already working at that salon as an assistant, and then some other things happened where, like, the stylists in that salon were leaving, and obviously that means that my pay decreased because there weren't that many people to work for in the salon. And so actually the owner of the salon, she pushed me to, like, braid full time. And at that time I'm like, girl, no, like, I'm not trying to be no full-time braider. Like, I just work for y'all as an assistant. Because think about it, I was in college at the time. That was before I dropped out, and I was bringing home $100 to $200 per day, and I was working like 5 or 6 days per week. So I was perfectly fine with being an assistant. And in fact, if I would be an assistant today. Like, that don't bother me. Like, it don't bother me at all. And what pushed you to keep up with it? The fact that, like, I had got into the mode of making my own money and seeing how much I could make, and without working a 9 to 5, right? Without working a job. And I was just like, okay, like, this is cool. And I knew, like, school was over and done with. Like, that's the thing. Like, in the Black community, it's either you're going to succumb to your environment and be whatever that environment creates, whether that's being in, let's be real, in the Black community we talking about, in Black poor community is what we talking about, not no suburbs and all of that. No, either you're going to succumb to your environment and be a drug dealer, a stripper, IG model, something along those lines, or you're going to go to school, or you're going to become an athlete and go to school through that to be able to live your dreams. So for me, the only thing that I really felt like I had was the fact that I was smart. In school, I got straight A's, B's, a little bit of C's, especially when I got to college, but I was smart, and I am smart. And so school for me was a huge thing. I'm thinking to myself, like, damn, I'm gonna go to school and I'm gonna get my degree and I'm gonna go work a job and da da da. So when I couldn't go to school no more, it was like, oh shit, like, kind of like survival mode kind of kicked in, and I was just like, oh shit, what am I gonna do? Ultimate defeat, number one. That was the ultimate defeat of my life. Like, I'm like, oh shit, I'm not going to go to school. Like, I can't go to school no more. Like, what the fuck am I gonna do? Thankfully, I was working in that salon because that flipped the switch for me. And granted, I didn't see it at the time, like, damn, this is something that I could do full time and actually make money from. I did not see that at the time because I'm thinking, okay, I'm still in school, so, you know, whatever. But that's what pushed me to keep up with it. The fact that, like, I was just kind of stuck in it almost. I could have, of course, went and got a job and all that, but I didn't really see that for myself at that time, like going to go apply for some job and getting accepted. In fact, I was applying for like Amazon and like other places like stores and stuff, and I was not getting no call back, and I was not calling them people back. So, excuse me. So that's what pushed me to keep up with it. How has creating content changed your business? Or I would say it changed my business by like, and I don't even really, y'all, I'm sorry, but I don't even really see or like really get this question, because I feel like when people ask this question, they're asking in a monetary way. And the reality is, if I were to look at myself in my business right now, yes, my income has increased because, of course, I've gotten more clients and more people wanting to work with me and stuff like that. But it's kind of like one of those things where when you're in the thick of it, you can't really see it. So I don't even really know how to answer that for real. Like, I've just gained a whole ass community that like supports me and loves me, and of course, like, I've gotten more clients out of it, but that's the only thing that I can say. And I don't really know if I consider that as like a change. Like, I don't know how to answer that. Oh no. Would you ever switch into feed-ins or other styles? No, never. No. How did you learn to braid? When did you see it could be lucrative for you? I learned how to braid when I was very young. I had an aunt who braided, and I was always over her house and stuff like that, especially like on the weekends or in the summer or whatever the case. And so just watching her, I picked up on like what braiding was, and braiding hair being added to your hair and putting on beads and greases and all that stuff. So I kind of picked that up from her. Well, I'm not gonna say kinda, I picked that up from her. And then in terms of like me going back home, I had a brother who had hair, and then later on down the line, of course, I started assisting my sister with braiding. I would braid my own hair, and then I had a baby sister. My mother had a child, and I would braid her hair. So it was really just practice on my own time, honestly, braiding my siblings' hair, braiding for my sister and stuff like that. When learning a new style, do you charge full, discounted, or not at all? Girl, just learn the style. Like, just learn the style. Why are you even worried about the money at that point? You don't know it yet. You know what I'm saying? Like, just do it. Just do it. Find a friend, somebody who hair you can do for free, I guess is what I'm saying. Like, find somebody hair who you can do it on before you start charging. Like, the first person I did knotless braids on before I started charging for them were myself, and then I did them on my mother, and then I did them, I think, on one of my coworkers, and I started charging when I did her hair. So get you some more practice in before trying to figure out like how much to charge for this style and stuff like that, because what you're finding out in practicing the style is, how long does this take me? What does this style look like for me to do? What kind of clients will want this style? You know, you got to find out your approach before you try to start charging for it. You know what I'm saying? How did you come up with initial funds to begin braiding? I was working, so I was already working. How do you price accordingly? I'm struggling to charge what I'm worth. I feel like, y'all, when it comes to pricing and when it comes to charging, like, I don't think, like, it's not a dollar amount that you can really put on your work when you put your heart into it and when you really master it. Like, it's not an amount that will be acceptable for people to pay, bro. The way that people are out here complaining about prices, and then whatever you think your self-worth is in terms of your styles and your work, like, it's always gonna be hard to charge your worth. It's always gonna be hard, because let's say, for instance, you start charging $1,000 or something like that. By the time you start getting clients that are willing to pay that $1,000, you're gonna feel like you need to go up. Am I making sense? Like, do that make sense? And so I would say with that, make sure all your I's are dotted and your T's are crossed. Like, make sure you know your stuff inside and out, and also work on personal development, right? Because that takes some personal development to be able to, because let me just say this before I even say that, or if I even want to say that anymore after I'm finished. Let me just say this. You struggling to charge your worth, right? When it comes to business, you're also struggling to see your worth as a person outside of a braider or whatever services. Yeah, she do braids. You struggling to see your own self-worth as a person. So work on that, and then worry about the business side of that. I'm telling you, because if you don't see how much you are worth as an individual person outside of being a braider, you're never going to be able to charge your worth. And I hope I'm not kind of contradicting myself when I say that, because I feel like I don't know if I would go as far as to say that those two things work in tandem, but they are a reflection of one another. So I'm gonna just leave that as that. What are some important things you did to build your clientele? Treat my clients right on the first go round. Literally, because that meant for me that if I treated them right when they first came, that they would come back. It would be a higher chance that they would come back. And so I did that, and they always came back for the most part. And then even if they didn't, it was like, I'm okay with that because these ones came back. You know what I'm saying? Have your IG name always been what it is? The Braid Producer? No, girl. My name was, before the Braid Producer, my name was Breezy Braids. So no. What inspires you to keep pushing to be the best? Always knowing that there's more, right? There's more than just being a braider. There's more than just being an Instagram influencer. There's more than like, and in reality, none of this shit really don't matter because who am I, right? Who am I as a person? What are the things that are important to me? What are the like, and if you look at the story or my storyline, right? And how I was in school to become a psychologist, felt defeated because I had to stop going. And then I hopped into, after being an assistant, being a full-time braider. What goes around comes around. I'm going back to that first place because it's a thing that is unfinished in my life, right? And so that's what inspires me to keep pushing to be the best because, you know, there's just so much more in life, in the world. Like, there's just so much more. And I don't think that my life ends with just being a braider who inspires other braiders or who does good work. Like, I don't think that's it for me. So that's why I keep pushing. Did you always know you wanted to braid? No. Like, I always knew I could braid, but I did not see myself being a professional braider or being a braider that did this and took it serious or nothing like that. No. How do you pull off the short look so good? Girl, this is in me, not on me. I don't know. I just cut my hair and it looked good, so I just always wear it now. How do you get yourself in your zone for doing hair on days you're not in the mood? I'm never not in the mood to do hair, to be honest. Because like I said, I really do what I love to do. And when I say that, I'm talking about knotless braids. Like, I'm not like, I love to do knotless braids. I can't even sit right here and give you the line, I love to braid, because I'll be lying. I love to do knotless braids, and because I do, I'm never not in the mood to do it. Now, granted, I'm human and I have my little mood swings or whatever the case, but I promise you, each time I go meet my client at that door to bring them in here to do their hair, I instantly change. My mood instantly changed. Literally, my mood instantly changes. Now, what happens in the course of that, like say for instance, our energies don't match or something like that, then okay, my mood would change. But like in the process, I'm pretty much good, for real. I'm pretty much good. But I will say a thing that helps with that is being prepared, right? So like the whole reason why I come in a day before and get everything situated and everything set is because I know that I have a life outside of this, right? And so something could be going on at home, something could be going on business-wise, something could be going on outside of this that impacts who I am or me and how I feel and things of that nature. So that way, when I come here and everything is like pretty much like a reset, it gears my energy towards being able to work well. If that makes sense. And so that's an important thing, being prepared, because regardless of what goes on, at the end of the day, this is my job and I'm expected to, and I expect myself to execute what it is that my clients book me for. And so from that perspective, I kind of try to set myself up for success, so that way nothing impedes upon that, regardless of what goes on outside of my suite. I hope that answers the question. Are you a licensed cosmetologist? I am not a licensed cosmetologist. As I mentioned earlier, in Texas and when I was in Baltimore, you do not need a license to braid. So, no. What do you do besides braiding? Y'all, I do human stuff. I do regular stuff. Like, I don't know if she's asking that in terms of work if you're talking about work, I don't do anything else. Braiding is my number one source of income. And in terms of outside of work, I do regular stuff. I go eat, I go to the movies, I shop, I read books, I do regular stuff. Your name and age. My name is Brianna and I am 23 years old. I did say my name earlier, but I'll say it again because I read this question. What is one thing you would give advice to a first-time braider? For any first-time braider, I would say figure out what you love to do now. Figure out what you love to do now so that you can refrain from going in circles about what it is you really want to do. Literally figure out what styles you love to execute the most. And of course, I'm saying that from experience because you might like to do more than one style, and that's okay. But I say that because you can begin to figure out, you can begin to set not strict but more straightforward goals for yourself in terms of income, what you would like to make, who you want to service, like all of those things matter. And so that's what I would say for a first-time braider. Figure out what styles you like, even if that means you have to experiment with so many. Figure out what you like to do and what you don't like to do now. That way, when it comes to you being a master and perfecting what it is you do, it's so much easier. It's so much easier, and you begin to do away with clients that you really don't need to be dealing with, or who might want to bargain your prices or fuss with you or argue with you and all the extra stuff that comes with being in the beauty industry. How's your mental health? I would say my mental health is about a 8 or 9. If we were talking about on a scale of 10. Maybe even like 7.5, anywhere from 7.5 to 9. And of course it's like up and down, but it's pretty good. It's pretty good. I'm very strong-minded, y'all. Do you ever have days where you feel like you didn't do as good as you could have on a style? I think because I've been doing knotless braids for so long, literally since 2018, that like I've gotten to a place now where like, because I perfected the style, that I don't really not ever like the style when I'm finished, or that is not that good. Now, let's say for instance, I mess a part up or something, or I didn't follow my typical routine and I can see the imperfections, even though it might look good to the eye of the person or the client or to another person, but me specifically knowing like, damn, I fucked that up. Yeah, I have days like that, yeah. But for the most part, because I stick to the same routine and stuff like that, I be chilling, y'all. How did you get your followers to engage in your content posted via IG? Ask questions. Ask them questions that they will want to respond to that might have something to do with them. Because if you make it all about you or just whatever you want to talk about, then of course nobody's going to engage. So ask questions that's relative to your audience. What strategies helped you gain clients when you first moved to Dallas? Posting on Instagram, literally posting on Instagram, because I didn't have nothing or nobody out here besides my husband. And he did some promoting for me too, like word of mouth, to like people that he knew down here or whatever the case. And but for real, it was Instagram. What made you decide to eat every other day? Being in a nation of Islam, we are taught to eat one meal a day, and that once you master eating one meal a day, eat every other day. And this is for the sole purpose to live longer. So just a little background, eating one meal a day, like you don't just wake up and be like, yo, I'm finna eat one meal a day, or I'm only gonna eat once today. No, let's say for instance you eat 3 meals a day. The goal is to get it down to 1. So how would you do that? Let's say you eat 3 meals a day: breakfast, lunch, dinner. On a day that you, or a week, let's say maybe people been eating 3 meals a day all their damn life. So let's say that you want to get on track to eating 1 meal a day. The goal would be to move from 3 meals a day to 2 meals a day to 1 meal a day, right? And that's over a period of time in which you know your body, so you would have to judge it based off of how you feel and how's it going and stuff like that. And once you've mastered eating 1 meal a day, then you take it to eating every other day. And so my husband was actually the one, because we had been eating 1 meal a day for a while or whatever case, and my husband was actually the one who kind of like suggested or hinted at eating every other day. I never really thought personally to eat every other day, honestly. Like, it's something that you would want to aspire to, because it sounds so like, oh my gosh, like how can a person do that? And so nevertheless, like my husband mentioned it, and when he first started doing it, I was like, no, I'm not doing it. Like, I ain't doing it. I'm already eating 1 meal a day. Like, I'm good. I'm good. But after I saw him like consistently doing it, I'm like, oh snap, he's doing really good. Like, let me try it out. Once I tried it out, I was like, I can't imagine going back to eating 2 times a day, 1 time a day, like none of that. I can't imagine doing it. So that is what made me do eating every other day. And also to health purposes, like, and not for me, like health purposes, like there was nothing wrong with me prior to, but believe it or not, you have more energy, your skin is much clearer, depending on what you eat. Of course, you can't be eating no BS. Sometimes I be eating BS. I be cheating, you know what I'm saying? I be cheating. But it's a work in progress. So that's the answer to that. What made you start taking braiding as a business instead of a side hustle? Because I've always looked at it as a business, and I've always looked at it as I'm working a real job. A lot of times you have people who, like the person asked, have it as a side hustle, and so it might not mean as much to them as a person who is doing this for livelihood. Like, literally, I live and eat and breathe off of this, you know what I'm saying? And so I've always looked at it that way, and I can't imagine not looking at it that way unless I wanted to play around with this, you know what I'm saying? So how long have you been married? What's your favorite color, favorite knotless size? I've been married since 2020, so 2 years now. My favorite color is pink and black, and my favorite knotless size is medium, which is why I only do medium knotless braids. What are some of your favorite places to shop for clothing? All the cheap places, Forever 21, H&M. Actually, those are kind of like the only 2 places that I really shop. Oh, well, I shop at Cole Haan, Nike, North Face, Adidas, Crocs. Like, I don't really shop at expensive places. I really shop at like medium to high places or really low places. Honestly, y'all, I had my spiel, and not that this is the question that the person asked me, but I do want to mention when I was younger, right, and I would be getting money from like babysitting or going with somebody or doing something, I would save all my money up and then go buy all the expensive stuff, and my mother used to always get mad at me, and I'm like, girl, like, what is wrong with you? Like, it's my money. Why are you mad about the money that I'm spending on what I want to spend it on? However, when I started working and making my own money and really start to have to pay bills and stuff like that, I'm like, baby, I'm not buying this. I'm like, okay, I see what my mother was saying all that long time. And so still to this day, I don't be buying nothing expensive for real. Unless it matters. Or I really, really like it. So that's where I shop. How many hours do you put in a week on content, shooting or editing? Y'all, I shoot content as if I was just living my daily life. So if there's and that's a thing that I don't really count in terms of hours that I'm shooting and stuff like that. Like, I'm not really specific in the area of how much content I shoot or how many hours it takes and stuff like that. So I really don't have an answer. I just know that, let's say for instance, I know I'm coming to work, I'm finna have my camera ready to start shooting. It's like a part of me, you know? And so I don't really count the hours. But in terms of editing takes me a lot of time. Like, editing there can be a 20-minute video that I have to take down to 1 minute. So you picture how long that takes. It takes hours to edit. I can say that. But in terms of shooting the content, I don't really count that because I'm just doing it as I go, you know. What was the first style you ever did and how did it turn out? Y'all, I've been braiding since I was young. I think the first style I ever did was some gangsters on my little brother. And it was cool. I already knew what I was doing. I ain't gonna say his parts were straight or them braids was as firm as they should have been, but those would be the things that I feel like turned them out to be not the best. Do you prefer pre-parting with just medium or all sizes? I prefer pre-parting at all times with all styles and all sizes, period. What keeps you motivated? Life, y'all. Life. Literally, I don't even really talk about motivation or say motivation or none of that because it's such a fleeting thing, y'all. It's such a fleeting thing. Motivation is such a fleeting thing. Like, think about it. Somebody gets you pumped up, riled up, and motivated to go do something. And the minute you don't feel like it, your ass ain't finna do it. So I keep myself motivated. Like, it is literally, and I'm not even saying this in a boastful manner, but when you get to a point where you realize that only you get in the way of your own dreams and things and goals and stuff that you want to do, you really kind of got to look at yourself and be like, am I going to do this or am I not? And so that's how I look at most things in life. Am I going to do it or I'm not? And whatever I choose, I'm finna accept the consequences and I'm not gonna care because I know for a fact that that's what I chose. I don't really, I'm not the type of person where things can just happen to me. Like, I always look at it and be like, bro, what did I do in this situation to bring this upon myself? You know what I'm saying? I'm not one of them people that think that shit just happened or I'm just gonna get to a certain place just because it's where I wanna be or something that I wanna do or none of that shit. No. I strictly look at it as like doing it or not, period. So motivation in that sense, either I'm finna do it or I'm not, period. Ain't no middle ground with me. I'm either here or I'm here. And if I'm not one of these places, you're not gonna find me in the middle. I'm finna be one of them places. That's the thing. At what point did you realize you were ready for a salon suite? When I did not want to work in a salon no more, literally. Once I got fed up of working in a salon and the shit that came with it, I was like, bro, I gotta get in a suite. And the crazy thing about it, each salon that I worked in, one when I was in Baltimore and one here in Dallas, for the most part, I was either there early in the morning before everybody else, or I was there late at night when everybody else was gone. So I was already in a predicament and feeling like I was by myself. Of course, outside of like the middle of the day or whatever the case when other people will work. But I was already feeling like I was by myself. So being in a suite, it kind of was just like regular to me. Like, it wasn't one of them things where I had to like get my mind prepared or none of that. Like, I was already ready. I was already ready. I was already ready. How you balance love life and work life? I mean, they two separate things. I don't even know if it's really a balance to those things, you know what I'm saying? Because, like, baby, we grown. Like, you working or you not. You working or you not. And also, too, and I hope I don't sound immature in my response now that I'm thinking about what I'm saying, but like... I gotta read it again. Let me read it again. How you balance a love life and work life. Those things don't intertwine for me. Like, when I'm at work, I'm at work. When I'm at home with my husband or with my husband in general, I'm with my husband. Like, that's what it is. I don't really mix those two things up. You know what I'm saying? For there to have to be a balance. You know what I'm saying? I hope that makes sense. Like, I don't intertwine the two. I don't intertwine the two. It's just separate things. It's literally separate things. And my husband does the same thing. Like, his work life is his work life, and his home and love life is his home and love life. Like, that's what it is. That's what it is. But I also think that comes from having a schedule where those things are able to be separate. We don't really have schedules where they were intertwined or they would impact one another as to where like they would affect a thing. You know what I'm saying? Now, when we first got married, that was something that was like off balance, if you will, because I was at home and he was at work. But now that we both work, it's kind of like, okay, we both was at work, but when we home, it's our time. Or when we this place, it's our time, and we understand that. So, yeah. How do you transition into doing one style when you have been doing a variety of braids? Figure out what you like and don't like. Literally, figure out what you like and don't like. Now, a lot of times when people do multiple styles, they be like, I like doing every style. I feel like the undertone of that is I like getting a lot of money and I want to maximize my income, which is nothing wrong with that. But in that, are you overworked? Are you actually being underpaid? Like, could you be making more if you have 1 or 2 or even 3 set styles and up the price of those ones? And so for you to transition from doing a variety of styles to one style or 2 to 3 styles or whatever the case, you need to figure out what styles you hate doing or what styles you look at and be like, I don't want to do this no more. Literally, and start from there. It's really simple, but you really have to take a look at it and be mindful. How has becoming a full-time knotless braider been since stopping all other styles? It's lovely. It's literally lovely. I don't deal with nothing that I don't want to deal with. My clients are high in energy. Like, we just mesh well together. The pay is fine. Like, I'm not stressing or struggling trying to figure out when my next client gonna come or how much I'm gonna get paid on this and that day and all the extra stuff. Like, so it's well. Did you dream about what you have now? No, literally never dreamed about it. Didn't even think it would be this, so no. What do you do for self-care? I take a break and I be present. I take a break and I be present in that break. I take a break. I just take a break. Most times when it comes to self-care, it's me wanting to pay attention to myself and what I'm feeling. Also, how did I get there? I do a lot of analyzing. And so I would say that's what I do for self-care. I pay attention to me. I do what is necessary for me to get back into the space that I need to be in. And I stay silent. I get very quiet when it's self-care or whatever the case. A lot of my self-care deals with my mind, and analyzing and processing the things that I'm feeling. How did I get to that place? What can I do? You know what I'm saying? Like, is there something that I need to get off of my chest? Is there something that I need to write out? Is there somebody I need to talk to? Like, those are a lot of the self-care for me. Self-care for me doesn't look like shopping. It doesn't look like going to get my nails done. It doesn't look like any of that. It looks like dealing with my mindset and where I'm at in that space and time. When's your birthday? I answered that earlier, February 1st. I'm an Aquarius. Somebody did ask me what's my big 3. Y'all, all I know is I'm an Aquarius and a Leo. I think I got a Leo moon. I don't know the other one. How long did it take you to get to where you are as far as braiding? It didn't take that long. Literally, I started growing. I don't even know in what manner this person is asking this, but I can assume that it's about Instagram. Or maybe even my clientele and being in Dallas. So I'm gonna just answer it like that. But it didn't take that long. I moved here in 2020. I had a full clientele, or at least a steady, let me not say full, a steady clientele by July, August. I started braiding that June. And it's been up ever since, honestly. So it didn't take that long. Especially with social media, y'all use social media to your advantage, because I know I did. Is there any mental mantras or physical activities you did to prepare yourself as a braider? As I just stated earlier, like literally processing and analyzing what I'm feeling, what's going on, what am I trying to do. So seeing my goals written down, seeing my goals in my mind, being able to imagine them, stuff like that. But as far as physical activities, I ain't do nothing physical now. Sometimes I run, sometimes I stretch, sometimes I do yoga practices, but that's not consistent enough to say that I use that to prepare for braiding. You know what I'm saying? So, did you ever go through a time where you questioned if being a braider was for you? I know. So it's not really a matter of if being a braider is for me or not. When it comes to myself, like speaking for myself, it's not really a matter of that, because I know braiding is not the end all be all for me. Like literally, I know that. And so having the mindset that braiding is a 9 to 5 for me really helps with that. Like literally looking at it like as if I don't come do some clients, I'm not getting no money. And that allows me to take it as seriously as I do. Now, I will mention that discipline plays a role in that, because if you're not disciplined enough, you might look at it and be like, no, I'm finna go get a job. It's easier to work for somebody else than it is to work for myself and stuff like that. So if you're not disciplined or have that mental strength, which I would say that I have in this aspect, then it will be hard. So I don't really ever question if being a braider is for me. Sometimes I'm just like, I know that's not the end all be all, so I don't let that stop me from being what I am right now in this present moment. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just is what it is at this moment. Like, I'm not gonna be here, I don't think, in 5 years, or maybe a little under 5 years, or whatever the case, like from now, that is, because I've already been doing this for 5 years. But how did you build your clientele? How do you know when it's stable or really good? I think I mentioned earlier, I built my clientele off of Instagram, and then like word of mouth, and treating my clients well and stuff like that. So that's how I would say I built my clientele. How do you know when it's stable or really good? I think you know when it's stable and really good. I'm gonna just start with stable, because really good could look like having 2 clients a week. Like, it depends on what your goals are to call it really good. So I'll just deal with the stable part. I think that you know it's stable when you are able to keep afloat, and that's bare minimum, right? Keep afloat during the seasons where many people aren't getting braids, which would be like October, November, January, February, stuff like that. When you're able to keep afloat during those times, I think you know that it's kind of stable. I think that's how you would know, honestly, because I wouldn't really judge the summer months where we know that everybody is getting braids, because that can stop the following month where it starts getting cool and people want silk presses, or they want weaves and wigs and stuff like that. So I would judge it off of the months where people aren't really getting braids, and be able to know like, oh, okay, I didn't do so bad this month, or whatever the case. What is your favorite food? Fried cauliflower. What is your biggest pet peeve? My baby sister asked me these questions, y'all. She said, what is your biggest pet peeve? In business wise, I would say my biggest pet peeve is no communication or miscommunication. Like, I love for everything to be clear and straightforward. So for a client, if you have anything that you want to say, or like just say it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I would hate to not understand a thing, or to miscommunicate what I was saying at this and that point, and you know, whatever the case. Like, just be upfront, be clear. As far as like students or people, you know, that I might train or teach, or whatever the case, I would say my biggest pet peeve in that aspect is not being willing to do the work. Like, I can't do the work for you, do the work, like, period, do the work. So those would be my biggest pet peeves. Do you have assistants in your office? You need any? First of all, I don't work in the office. Girl, I work in a salon suite, and I'm not currently or actively looking for an assistant. I would love to have one, but I'm also not really looking for one, honestly. I'm not. Okay, y'all, and that wraps up this video. There are no more questions, but if you do have any questions that you would love for me to answer, just leave them below in the comments. I will be doing videos that have to do with like braiding tips professional wise. I'm not sure about techniques per se, but you may get some tips and stuff like that. And then also, of course, day in the life. And yeah, I look forward to doing more videos, and I hope that you found this video enjoyable to watch, and that you learned a thing or two, either about myself or braiding. And let me know what you think in the comments. And also to like this video, give me a like and subscribe. I do look forward to uploading more videos on YouTube. It's the Braid Producer. I'm out.